Oh yeah, this one's gonna be fun. All the water of the world has been drained from a giant hole somewhere I don't know where it is, but somewhere off map probably. All of these provinces are no longer wasteland. They're provinces that can be colonized. Obviously they're not named or anything, but you know, who really cares, to be honest with you? From Iberia all the way over to America, it's all colonizable. And the best part is any nation with like 200 ducats, I think, can invest in a decision to get Siberian frontiers. And I'm sure we're going to see them. Obviously, the rich nations in 1444 are going to have the best chance. Of course, the ones that border the large zones like Castile, Portugal, England, the ones that can get that 200 early on, I think we're going to see them early to the race. But nations over here like Vijay, Ming, Korea, probably, we're going to see a lot of colonization, and there's a lot of land over here that they can colonize. And I have to say, the map actually looks really nice with my graphics pack. It's called Chewy's Graphics. If you're curious, I always get people asking about that. Yeah, this should be fun. I really like the way that those, what are these called? Rift valleys or whatever look underwater. They're very cool. Same with like the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, I think it's called. Very nice looking. This map is just, it's actually very pretty. Either way, you all know the drill. We're going to turn it on up to speed 5 and unpause. All right, we have our first few guys joining. Morocco actually got in on a few of them, and they are working their way across. Portugal has jumped out and is now colonizing their coasts. They're the only ones over here. Looks like Denmark and Volgast have apparently joined in, as well as Sweden. Teutons. It's funny, it kind of just flows together here. This is just one sea tile, I guess. So they can't get into their own lands or something. I don't know how it's all connected, if I'm being honest. The auto blob is literally blobbing now. Like they're just oozing into the sea. This looks very funny. I actually think this is like aesthetically a very nice mod. Ming is working their way over from like King Chao or whatever this island down here is called. It's not an island anymore, of course, but it is it's oozing, and they do have to spend Diplo, so they will be limited by Diplo. Ayutthaya has joined, Malacca has joined. Looks like even a Sambas has joined from down here, and it looks like no, it's Brunei has not yet. Sunda has decided to do a bit of it. It's just like, it's really funny because you just see these nations kind of just oozing, just slowly oozing out of their original borders, like VJ over here. France and England have joined with some funny looking borders going on over here. I think that England is definitely getting nerfed, despite having a lot of land that they can colonize. They're also going to be touching tips with a very spooky France, who I'm sure is going to get big. Lucca has joined as well, looking pretty good over here. Ottomans continuing to blob, but the Mams have made their way into the sea. Yemen is migrated out. Looks like they may have lost some land. I'm not actually sure exactly how it works, but here they go. They're over here. And yeah, the Indonesian nations are all just starting to blob out. Looks like they don't have much money to spend, or things to spend their money on rather, early. So yeah, everybody over here is blobbing out. Dai Viet, and now we've got Ming starting to clean up their borders a little bit, though they ain't looking so good over here. Well, we're a couple years in. Northumberland has popped out of England, though they're surrounded, so they're not going to move anywhere. Denmark is actually blobbing quite a bit, and it looks like they've basically taken everything except for this like weird little snake that Sweden got. Of course, France is pretty terrifying, looking very big. This little tendril of Portugal, giving them a little hug there. I don't think you're going to stop them, my friends. Clemson actually doing a little bit of snaking as well, but I think Lucca might be my favorite snake over here. Ottomans are smart, though. They're actually cutting off the Italians over here, and now they just have to compete with basically just the Mams for the rest of the land over here in this eastern portion of the Mediterranean, or whatever this region is called in this mod. Vijay continues to push up into Gujarat. And it does look like Bengal has actually decided to do a bit with this guy over here. So we've got a lot of nations actually joining. And over here, Indonesia it actually looks very aesthetic. I'm surprised at how aesthetic this mod actually is with all the colonization. Tondo has also joined in, getting lots of the lands around the Philippines. China must be having some issues because they're very slow to actually fill in. Like they're just slowly getting their colonies set up on their borders, which is obviously how it works. But it feels like it's taking quite a long time for them to do it. Meanwhile, we've got soupy looking Korea over here. Not perfect 1444 borders, but this is a very close second for me. I don't see any African nations just yet, so hopefully we'll see them soon. And we don't have anything going on over in the New World. I decided to leave natives just in case, but I think that's probably a mistake. Much better. Ooh, well, the longer it goes on, the goofier things look, though we're certainly getting some pretty noteworthy blobs. Ottomans obviously did very well over here in the Eastern Mediterranean. Lucca managed to snag most of the land over here. Looks like they're waiting on one more province between Corsica and Sardinia. Aragon didn't colonize at all. France and Castile snaking them, but how about Portugal? And they've got a whole lot more to go. Also love to see some of my Irish bros doing some land over here, though these guys don't even have their homelands, which is mildly hilarious. And then just a one province or two province minor Gelra over here, colonizing over here, looking pretty good. Poland ate the Teutons. There are only two provinces left over here. Bohemia ate Brandenburg, so probably not going to see a Prussia. And no colonization up north just yet. Maybe Uzbek, maybe. Not 100% sure. And when I said Africans before, I didn't mean North Africans. I meant these guys down here, which there's still nothing on this side, except for maybe Kilwa getting in on a couple. And then Ajuran from the Horn doing a bit over here. But how about this? Just Aden. Though these provinces are massive, so it's not actually fair. But yeah, we're seeing quite a bit going on. The Maldives or Maldives, or however it is pronounced, is thriving with VJ over here, Bengal over here. Paragyung or whatever, which is a Sumatran nation, doing well over here. And I just mean size-wise. I don't think they actually have the most provinces. That's probably like Majapahit or Sunda, but still pretty cool to see. And just, yeah, the Western soup continues with Tondo, snaking. I love these little like corridor provinces that allow other nations to cut each other off. It creates very nice looking border gore. Ming is like almost done. Unless they can break through here, they are going to be cut off by the Koreans and Tondo. So that's pretty good. We're also seeing quite a bit of colonization from Japan as Japan slowly loses its recognizable shape. And I'm not sure how it works with colonization. Obviously, none of this is sea, so they're not going to be able to colonize across it. So maybe if they get colonists, they'll be able to colonize it a little faster. But I mean, not 100% on that. So almost 50 years in, France is actually out in front, but Ming realistically is until they embrace the institution. Looks like they came through. They have very low mandate, but they are still alive. Ottomans with over 800 as well. Castile with 500. Poland with 450. Portugal with only 300. And then the Mams and Burgundy, though Burgundy only at 263. So we'll see how things go with that. Well, we actually are seeing some of the New World natives, the Muisca, my beloved, are doing a bit of blobbing, as are basically all of these guys. I think every single one of them has at least gotten a sea tile or two. So we're definitely seeing some expansion of the continent. The Mexican boys up here are doing their thing as well, which is good because there is an unstoppable tide making their way. Things are looking pretty messy up here in Norway, looking beautiful over here in Iceland, though they now have direct borders, and I don't know how Scotland did it, but it looks like Scotland has made their way over into Northern Ireland and, you know, the sea surrounding it. I don't know where Rockall is, but I think it might be in here. So it definitely is Irish territory by the looks of it. Spain is actually formed as well, so we're seeing a pretty strong Spanish Empire. They integrated the what is this, Aragon, and they're looking good. Lucca over here with their name in the, what is this, Tyrrhenian? Is this the Tyrrhenian Sea? I think I always get them mixed up. Meanwhile, Otto Blob is doing their thing. They have conquered a bit of land over here, and they're pushing down into the Mams. They have definitely beaten the Mams. Also worth a shout, Theodora. Love to see Theodora doing well. Always a big fan of that. Meanwhile, the Indian Ocean is getting paragyunged, and that's mostly it. Honestly, they're definitely going to be the dominant nation over here. They've cut most everyone else off, and they've got all this land pretty much for themselves. And we do have people over into Australia. Banjar looks like they're cutting off Majapahit, though they're doing a bit of snaking themselves. And yeah, Ming has been cut off, and it actually looks like Ming lost some land to Korea. I don't know if they lost land or if they just didn't convert it, get it in there. But yeah, either way, doesn't look like Ming is doing much more than this. And oh my gosh, this Oda looks like a parasite. I am such a big fan of this. This is actually what I was hoping to see. It is Tonga time down here, and the Samoans are looking to blob out a bit as well. And the Hawaiians are doing their thing over here. So shout out the Hawaiians. So almost 100 years in, we are seeing our first 1,000 development nation with the Ottomans. France not far behind them with almost 900. Spain at 722. Commonwealth has formed as well. I missed that. Ming, and then Russia, who is also formed, as well as Portugal and the Mams. Mams have over 600 development still, so they are a force to be reckoned with. So yeah, we do have a Commonwealth, we do have Russia, we do have a huge Bukhara, which is a very nice color. Like that is a very aesthetic map color. And we have a Manchu. I can't believe I'm looking at all the borders and I actually miss all of the formable nations. So apologies. Oh, and of course the Madagascar lads, as well as Kilwa and Congo even, have gotten in on the action. Looks like Benin and Bonneman are doing a bit, as well as Mali. So we do have the full colonial frontiers forming and starting over here. We are almost to absolutism. Almost, not quite. And there's very little actually recognizable stuff going on anymore outside of maybe Persia over here. The New World is well on their way, at least the up to the coast is well on its way. And then for some reason, random nations are just snaking along. I don't even know what some of these countries are. But yeah, we're seeing quite a bit. I think Portugal so far is the big leader. I don't know what this is. I don't know why their name is across here like this. I think it's just the game has no idea where to render names for some of this stuff. Russia has surprisingly very vanilla borders, which is super funny outside of a couple of provinces up here. Ottoman's been a bit stagnant without much land to expand into, I suppose. The Indian Ocean is filled, from what I can tell, completely filled, which is cool. Atlantic is mostly done, top and bottom, or north and south, I guess. And the Pacific is well underway as well. And 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10. Though Tondo and Samoa down here making hilarious borders. Such a big fan of this. Looks like something out of like Anbanar, you know. But we are seeing some pretty solid tags pop out here, like the big blobby ones. Most of them were the ones that were able to colonize, like the Indonesian nations. And honestly, a lot of the Indonesian nations are just kind of, you know, vying for each other, I think. Of course, China has collapsed, and sadly, it looks like Korea has not done much. They did a little bit here. They may have lost a little bit, though. Maybe not, actually. I'm not sure. Apparently, Japan has formed as well, and it's just like a long, like, spinal column hanging here with the head up here, I guess. Poor Oda. Though over in Europe, it does look pretty normal. Well, as normal as it can be, I suppose. We have France and England up here. Sweden has annexed Norway, and as well as the lands and the seas around Denmark. Commonwealth looking pretty dang solid with just Riga over here. I like that. So yeah, almost halfway through the game, France is the #1 great power, and it's actually pretty competitive for most of the top 8, with Portugal behind them, the Commonwealth neck and neck with Portugal, the Ottomans in the actual second spot once they embrace institution. We do have the 5th institution that has been embraced by Burgundy, though. That's the only reason they're in the top 8 right now, with Spain with 900, Mams with a little over 600, and then Kilwa with over 900 themselves. So apparently lots of development down here, I guess. The Reformation is here. It's just mostly Reformed, honestly, with a couple of Protestant stuff up here, but Reformed actually did much better than Protestant this time around, with the mandate stalling out after the creation of whatever this one is. So they actually pushed through 6 reforms, which is really impressive, and they're actually barely losing imperial authority at the moment. And the longer it goes, the worse it gets, to be honest. The name placement of these nations, I don't understand why. This is like a Siberian nation from over here. Like, it's this nation. I don't know why their name is over here. These names, the apostrophes are like way up in the air. I don't know why, but I actually really love that one. Lots of rebels going on, and these nations are so big that it probably has taken them forever to actually get to their lands. Austria has collapsed, with also as Styria popping out. France has eaten up most of England, and it doesn't look like they're going to be doing well, considering the fact that they're getting dominated by Norway right now, based out of whatever the Straits of... What is this name of this area? Actually, I don't remember. This is where the Hood was shot down over here, I believe. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. Commonwealth looking good, but oh my goodness, how about that Russia? They already had Siberian frontiers, so they didn't even need the mod. But yeah, they're doing good. And then, of course, yeah, a Qing formed it, and they're actually doing incredibly good. They're beating up on this Kamcham Dolls or whatever, and looks like they are kind of the dominant nation over here in East Asia, if you want to consider this East Asia. I don't actually know where we draw the lines in this mod. Vijay ended up eating Balmanis, and then, you know, that was basically all they really needed to do, because now they're big and scary. Aden is mostly just sea tiles that are huge, so not really that impressive. Persia currently losing to Ottomans, and I think Shirvan over here is what it looks like. So yeah, they're probably going to be gone before too long. But definitely my favorite is just this big Thomond over here, which is an Irish nation. And Ireland is right here. They have 1 province in Ireland, which I think is their capital. I might be wrong. And then the rest is just sea. Mams are mostly gone. Looks like they're going to be gone if I were to unpause. And the South Atlantic is mostly African natives, with a Jolof, Congo, and then Kilwa taking up the majority down here. Though we are seeing some colonial nations, so that's kind of weird. Morocco has Colombia as well as Grenada Al Jadida, I guess. Yeah, so we still are seeing colonial nations. I don't know how that works, because if it's attached to their capital, it cannot be a colonial nation. Like Portugal owns like most of North America over here. It's all part of their core territory. Either way, we've got about 100 years left, and France is out in front by quite a bit with 3,200 development, almost 3,000 for the Ottomans, and then quite a big drop off to 2,300 for Portugal, and then a huge drop off down to Spain, the Commonwealth, Russia, who will be what, number 4 after they embrace institution, Korea with under 1,000, and then Qing, who's competitive with like the top 5 or 6, but yeah, mostly just France. France is dominating, and the Ottomans. Well, it is very green over here in this hemisphere, and then this hemisphere is very orange or brown or whatever this color is. So we definitely have some interesting borders at the end. Portugal continued their domination, but don't worry, there's a couple of random Moroccan provinces up here, right next to Norway, who's based out of like Greenland and this sea over here. France ended up eating the British, if I had to guess. I mean, that's about it. And then Thomond hanging in there. Love to see that. Pretty sure Spain did not do anything except for maybe conquering some land over here, which they seemingly lost a bit of land to the Ottomans, or maybe it was just Tlemcen. That would be strange. Shout out the Pope man with slightly less than 1444 borders, but still there. And we even have a ducal Prussia hanging out. So that's pretty good, as well as the Sorbian Lusatia, Bavaria, Westphalia, a couple of formables. Admittedly, we didn't really pay a whole lot of attention in Germany, at least I didn't. Shout out the one province minor Transylvania eyalet over here. Very nice. Sad to see Bosnia as independent and not an eyalet as well, since we're keeping up with that. Theodoro remains a one province minor in the Black Sea. And Shirvan is, for the most part, just the Caspian Sea. Ottomans hung in there. They did very well, actually. They conquered all the way down to the Horn of Africa, with Persia seemingly having a rush to the sea, the Indian Ocean, with them. So that's kind of cool. And then it's Vijay Ayutthaya apparently dominated most of India, with Vijay and Persia splitting the rest of it. Of course, you can't ignore the big bad Russia in the room, who even pushed across the Himalayas into like the sex worker area, which is just absolutely nuts. China's still a mess. I don't really know what you would expect from that other than a mess. Tondo seemingly got pushed back by Cebu or Kebu, or however this is pronounced. I think this is a achievement nation in vanilla. And so, yeah, Sunda is revolutionary, and as far as I can tell, they're the only one. But there's a Majapahit Australia, who seemingly is a subject of Sunda, and an independent Australia. There you go. Samoa hanging in there. Not doing so well with rebels, but over here it's mostly just like Hawaii, I guess, but they're losing a war to this Kamchadals, who had like the goofiest name placement the entire video. And of course, Morocco and Portugal split this this whole hemisphere just like they were before. It's just way worse. I do love seeing the nations that like originated in like the continent exclusively being in the ocean. That's good. I appreciate that. And there is a split. We have Orthodox, Sunni, Catholic, and then randomly Denmark is Orthodox. So there you go. But Protestant and Reformed didn't really do much. It also looks like Norway over here is Orthodox. I'm assuming that they are subjects of the Russians. They kind of have to be if I had to guess. Though down over in the Indian Ocean, things are different. We've got a lot of Hindu and some Buddhists. So there you go. And then Shinto and animist, a nice little bit of contrast with them. And we've even got a bit of Tangri up here in the north. Some fetishists, a little bit of Inti, Sunni with a little bit of Inti. So yeah, Nahuatl basically is a dead religion. At least it's not practiced as any state religions. And this is what we get for the culture map mode. This is it. Basically just all of these Indonesian cultures down here, which is cool. Polynesian, Aymara, which is like a Inti/Incan culture, if I had to guess. The Swahilis hanging out all the way down here with the Congolese and the Senegambians. That's always cool. Portuguese rushing over to the New World. And we've even got some of the Levantine group pushing down here as well with over here. It looks like Turks might have culture converted though. I think, yeah, they had to have. Kind of funny to see Uzbek and Kazakh and then just like Muscovite, Manchu, Muscovite. Always pretty good for a laugh. We finished with some interesting stuff going on here. The Ottomans are the military hegemon, #1 great power in the world, over 8,000 development. The #2 is France with way less than them, 3,000 almost less than them at 5,500. Even then lower, 4,600 for Portugal, Russia with 44, and then a massive drop, less than half VJ over in India, Morocco over in the Atlantic Ocean, Spain doing very little actual colonization with the mod, Kilwa in the 8th spot, which is cool. They've been in the Great Powers basically the whole game, and then a fully stacked eco-hegemon for the French. The development map mode is very funny. It looks like all of the sea tiles basically are 3 or 4, maybe 5 if they're a particularly rich sea tile. But aside from that, the development is actually fairly spread out. Lots in sub-Saharan Africa, lots in Germany, as you would normally expect, Italy, over here into the Levant, Mesopotamia, Persia, and then definitely a ton down in Southeast Asia and over in China. And then there's like Korea with like every province the exact same development, because Korea is perfect in EU4. I love it. And if you like it too, show your support, leave a like on the video. I really do appreciate that. If you made it all the way to the end, you should subscribe if you haven't already, because there's a ton of content you're going to be missing out on if you're not subscribed. And if you want to see something like this in the future and you have a suggestion of a mod, leave it in the comments below. I read all of my comments. I appreciate you all making it to the end of the video, and I'll see you in the next one.